When he's not hiding in his Ural bunker and threatening the world with nuclear annihilation, President Vladimir Putin has a really kick-ass life that can be the envy of most modern dictators. True, he hasn't erected a gold statue in his honor, nor did he title himself as a living god as some of his more eccentric colleagues in Asia had. However, despite this omission, Putin is still one of the wealthiest rulers in the world. Up until a few days ago, Vladimir Putin was a genuine superstar. He was shrouded in mystery and adored by millions worldwide. That was, of course, before he was revealed to be an unstable lunatic ready to blow up the world if he doesn't get what he wants. Whether he was depicted riding a horse shirtless, swimming in a river, playing hockey, or simply punching a bear in the face, the Russian president radiated authority, brute strength, and somehow charismatic terror. Such an extraordinary man indeed has some extraordinary days, filled with luxury, lavish spending, and of course, lots of investments and work. While you'd be forgiven for thinking that President Putin's morning routine is filled with dripping vodka shots in his eyes, punching a dissident in the face, and arm wrestling a bear, the truth is that Russia's commander-in-chief has a much more boring start of the day. When Putin has no foreign meetings, he prefers to stay in bed as late as noon. That explains how he keeps looking threatening at the age of nearly 70. His breakfast consists of the most boring menu you could think of: an omelette, fresh fruit juice, porridge, and some cottage cheese if he's feeling wild. These abs need their protein after all. While his breakfast may be as vanilla as they come, it's anything but cheap. Everything Putin puts in his mouth was freshly picked up by local farms owned by the head of the Russian Orthodox Church, Patriarch Kirill, and baked in his own kitchen by a highly trained and well-paid cook. As you might have guessed, just like many previous Russian dictators, Putin has a general paranoia of getting poisoned, which, considering his position, is not that far-fetched. Naturally, this makes the Russian president a very picky eater, and he always insists on taking his personal cook wherever he goes on international visits. Needless to say, Putin's cook is one of his closest people and is handsomely paid for his loyalty and most likely for the delicious porridge he serves. That doesn't mean the president rejects all the tasty food on diplomatic visits. However, before Putin touches anything, it must be cleared by Russia's secret services. As a former KGB agent, Putin knows far too well how things can go south in a matter of seconds if he's not sharp. Interestingly, Russia's president point-blank refuses to drink milk. It's not known, however, if he dislikes the taste or simply hates cows just as much as American imperialists. After breakfast, Putin will enjoy a cup of Novichok-free coffee in his gigantic palace just outside of Moscow. The Russian president surely knows how to live large. His Novo-Agayevo estate certainly doesn't lack amenities with its indoor heated pool, sauna, some small cold water plunge pools, luxurious furniture, and lavish decoration. Being Russia's president, Putin certainly has a lot of vital responsibilities to his country and nation. However, Vladimir's first priority is his body. That's why, after a healthy breakfast, it's time to burn these pesky calories with 2 hours of swimming. It's said that a lot of his governing decisions are taken while he is swimming, which would certainly explain why Russia's economy is going down the drain. At this point, it's way past 2 p.m., and different ministers, MPs, advisors, and journalists are waiting for Putin's advice on running the country. After all, nothing in Russia happens without the supreme leader's knowledge, and being paranoid as he is, the president holds a tight grip on every aspect of Russia's governing. However, all the visitors will have to wait for a bit more. Typically, the wait time to see Putin is said to be between 2 and 4 hours, depending on the urgency of your query. If you're a journalist, you might have to pack some snacks for the wait. The only positive thing is that typically the waiting happens in one of the Kremlin's multiple ultra-classy conference rooms. It is said that they look more like entering a throne room rather than a regular cabinet or meeting room. While everyone is waiting for Putin, he is still working on the only thing in Russia that's not in decay at the moment: his body. So after the intense swimming session, Putin is ready to lift some weights. No, not bears, cars, or airplanes, just regular old weights. Although he does it in an outfit that is said to have cost more than $3,500. For a 69-year-old, Putin goes far and beyond to keep himself in peak form. He is well known to love taking part in all kinds of physical and contact sports, among which ambitious favorites are hockey and judo. Up until a few days ago, the Russian leader was also an honorary president of the International Judo Federation. However, due to the Ukrainian aggression, his role in the IJA was suspended. In the mid-afternoon, Putin's body has finally had enough, and it's time to get dressed for the day. As anyone can guess, the Russian president is not too frivolous with his dress code, as he predominantly wears suits with a tie. His brands of choice are Keaton and Brioni, which unfortunately won't supply the Russian president with new suits anytime soon due to the sanctions the EU imposed on Russia. Nonetheless, Putin won't be seen wearing a barrel anytime soon, as his suit collection is worth tens of thousands of dollars. Typically, the traffic in Moscow is a nightmare, but not when you have a private road with a police escort the whole way from your home to your office in the Kremlin. Once in the office, Putin is all work and no play. His office famously has no windows and has absolutely no technology allowed inside due to security reasons. The only communication is through old Soviet landline telephone. Not very fancy, but quite effective in countering espionage. The president's first task of the day is always to read through the reports of the Domestic Intelligence Service, the FSB, the Foreign Intelligence Service, the SVR, and his Personal Protection Army, the FSO. After familiarizing himself with the truth about Russia, it's time for the president to see what his subjects have been told. Putin spends considerable time looking through publications printed in the heavily censored national tabloids. He especially enjoys reading articles that praise him, which are not in shortage in the state-run media. Next are the lightly censored broadsheets, considered the quality press in Russia. Finally, his least favorite, for obvious reasons, is the foreign press. After all, Putin hasn't got a great image outside of Russia, but he also needs to know what's going on in the world and what he can exploit. When the president is in a good mood, he enjoys watching satirical videos of himself, but never in his office. So, Vladimir, if you are watching this, hey! Also, please refrain from pressing the big red button that will make the world a nuclear wasteland. Putin's daily schedule is split into 15-minute slots. That's not unique to him, though. That's how most world leaders manage their time. Meetings, press conferences, starting wars, it's all scheduled far in advance. This schedule is kept even when Putin travels abroad. Russia's president doesn't spare any money when he travels for international events. His delegation usually occupies a luxury hotel, especially chosen by the SVR and FSB. After a thorough inspection and swipe, the whole building is sealed before the president's arrival. Putin travels with 3 airplanes. One he has for himself and is in a circle, one for the rest of the delegation, and one as a decoy if anyone decides to spark World War III by shooting down the Russian president. Putin trusts no one, so with him, there's usually an army of servants, chefs, cleaners, and other service people that might come in handy. As you might have guessed by his waking hour, Putin is a night owl. According to him, that's the time he has the best mental clarity and does most of his job. Typically, the president works late at home, as Putin hates staying in the Kremlin. As a result, Vladimir leaves the strategic work for the late hours. It's quite often that he calls his ministers or advisors to discuss actions and governmental affairs way past midnight. Typically, his dinner is just as healthy as his breakfast, although he does enjoy some fancy food like caviar on special occasions. He also loves pistachio ice cream, and he has been seen sharing a cone with more than one world leader. While most Westerners imagine that Putin enjoys a bottle or two of vodka every night, the fact is that Putin rarely touches alcohol. The only exceptions are diplomatic gatherings, where the etiquette demands it. Typically, Putin goes to bed at around 3 a.m. Not a very family-friendly schedule, but for Russia's leader, that's not a problem. Since 2013, he has been a single man. So, ladies, if you want to live a thrilling, luxurious life, you might want to book your flight to Moscow soon. In 2013, he divorced his wife, Lyudmila, and now lives alone with his dogs. He has 2 daughters, but little is known about their lives. Since the FSB is probably always looking for potential threats to their lives, it's best not to stalk them. President Putin adores his 3 dogs, a black Labrador named Coney, an Akita Inu called Yumi, and a Karakachan dog named Buffy. The last one was gifted to him by Bulgaria's Prime Minister, Boyko Borisov, and Putin has fallen in love with the fluffy drool ball ever since. It's safe to say that these dogs live a far better life than most Russians. With a personal wealth of above $100 billion, the Russian president surely can afford the best for his most loyal friends. Vladimir Putin is a man of habit and rarely flashes his riches to the public. The Russian head of state lives in luxury in his estate, but otherwise, he tries to keep a down-to-earth appearance for his citizens. A personal army to guard him, a secluded multi-million-dollar home, and some other perks that usually stay behind closed doors and outside the camera's reach. So, will you choose Putin's secluded life with his vast riches, or would you rather have your freedom? Let me know in the comments section below.